listening to the Budget Overland podcast, where we talk everything overlanding, have guests on regularly, and even have a bonus show on Mondays called Overland Shenanigans, which it's like it sounds, a bunch of shenanigans. Stick around, see who's on today's episode. Welcome back to another episode of Budget Overland podcast. I'm your host, Benji, and in studio today I have Jesse from Spartan Overland. How are you, sir?
I'm good, man. I'm pretty excited to be here. I'm a little worried for you. I feel like you went
we just met?
Yeah, well, I'm like, he went from Independence, Overland, and then you had Fletch in here. Now you're already down to me? Like the barrel's already empty?
No, that's where I come in. No, man, I appreciate you coming on. This is funny because me and you've known each other forever. At least 2 weeks now. It's flown by.
Yeah, we go way back.
And you got a random message from me because I've watched your YouTube channel and stuff. I really enjoy it. And then every once in a while, like if we get a new Fire Stick or something, I don't save. Like I never watched YouTube on like logged in, if you will, so it never remembers anything. So anyway, I found you again the other day. I was like, what?
So you're that guy in my stats? When
yes.
It's like 60% of your viewers don't subscribe.
Right. No, I'm subscribed to you, but I don't log in when I'm watching on my TV. So whenever, if you have a playlist or something on your laptop or something, you can go to it real quick. So like on my TV and stuff, I have to like wait for the loop to go back around. And then you were a suggested video a couple weeks ago. I was like, hey, I've watched his videos and not seen him in a while because we got a new Fire Stick or whatever. So I lost you that away. So I was like, I need to reach out right now before he gets too big and just blows me off. So here we are.
Yeah, it'll never happen. So.
No, don't say that, dang it.
Well, I mean, even if we got big, I'm not that guy.
Sure. No. Okay, well, that's cool then. Don't doubt yourself because your stuff's good. And what's cool about it, and I'm not just going to brag on you the whole time, but what's cool about it is you're on the eastern side. Are you in North Carolina?
Yeah, we're kind of central North Carolina.
Central Eastern Coast, whatever. So I'm in Missouri, and a lot of YouTube videos, you see out west or, in the desert and stuff. You see some like where I'm at, Missouri, obviously down in Arkansas, there's a lot of YouTubers down there too. There's just a lot of trail to do, but I've always heard like the further east you go, it's kind of harder to find trail. Is that true or false? Because I've never been out east. Okay.
It's very true. Especially if you want to go a long way without hitting pavement. You're going to have to, like, here's a good example. I'm planning a route right now. And part of it is stuff we've already done. If you've seen our videos, then you've probably seen the Allegheny Discovery Route. It's one of our more popular videos. And it goes through West Virginia and Virginia. It's about 300 something miles. And this trip I'm planning hits a lot of that same stuff. And then we're just going to come back through and hit pavement to do the Blue Ridge Parkway, which is a highway that runs 460 miles along the ridge of the Blue Ridge Mountains.
Nice.
But yeah, the reason you don't see much of it is because it's really hard to find.
So is the trip that you're planning now, how many people are in your crew?
I keep it small. I get
rig wise.
Yeah, for a few reasons I keep it small. So I'll probably cap this trip at like 5 rigs. And it's for a few reasons. One, I always hate when I'm on a trail ride and there's like 40 rigs and you drive for 20 minutes and then you wait for 3 hours as like the one truck who needs maybe 2 more inches of lift tries to get over the obstacle. But also for the people who are going with me, because I got to be honest with them. I'm like, we're going to be stopping randomly. So Daisy can run up in front of the truck and set up the camera, and then we can all drive past and we stop. And then I got to get her back in. So I keep it small to be considerate and to, I don't know, I think it makes a more enjoyable trip.
So people that go with you anticipate that you're making a film they're going to be in the film, so they're not complaining because they understand what's going to come from this trip. A, and then B, it's like, you know, a lot of people, I always tell people, like, if I'm going on a trip and I'm going to record something, it's going to take 3 or 4 times as long. So it's like, if you're willing to stop every 15, you know, feet almost, if you will, people get annoyed. My wife gets annoyed with that stuff. And so it's like when me and a couple of my buddies, they've got YouTube channels much more successful than mine. And we go together. It's like, we all understand. Like, hey, this looks like a cool shot. And we'll do like 3 different angles, and, you know, and put it in a Dropbox or something and share it that way, which is cool. But I get it. You've got to you've got to tell people before they go, because you might lose some friends.
It helps too. Like a lot of times, other people in our group are also content creators that started around the same time. So it's sometimes we'll stop. I'm a bit of a control freak, admittedly. Mm-hmm. Like I've planned the route and I'm usually going to lead it. And part of that is because I've planned it, but also it's because I get to pick the shots. Yeah. Or Daisy gets to pick the shots. She'll say, "Oh, here it is. Stop."
Nice.
And half the time what that means is I'll see the passengers and the 3 Vics behind me jump out too, and they'll run up and see where she's going.
That's fun. I like it, and we could get into the YouTube part of it now, but it's like, it's fun to record your trip, edit your trip, add the music, do the little clips and stuff, and then watch it with your buddies that you were on the trip with, because they're like, "Oh, look at that, I remember that." So it's kind of like, what motivated you to even start YouTube?
Well, so I work in the creative field anyway. Cool. I'm a graphic designer. Like my 9 to 5 is as a graphic designer. And I've always been into video. So we got into overlanding, and I was like, we're going to do this anyway, whether there's a camera or not.
What year was this? How long ago?
Like overlanding proper.
Well, not just like whenever you got the idea to be like, hey, look, we're going to go overlanding or whatever, camping.
So we've always been into camping and like outdoor stuff. And then while I was in the Marine Corps, so this was probably between 2010, 2015, I had never heard the term overland, right? I had bought a 1990 Isuzu Trooper. I bought it while I was in Afghanistan. I would, anytime I would get access to the internet, I would hit Craigslist and I would email Daisy, like, go look at this one. Go look at this one.
And she bought that one while you were deployed?
Yeah, I was like, whatever the best one is, get that one. So, but in my mind, I was like, I want to build. It was almost from like a pseudo prepper mentality.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, overlanding was a thing I'd never heard of. But I was like, I would love to have an off-road capable rig that I could live out of or off the grid if something happened and have fun with in the meantime. Yeah. Turns out the Trooper is not that thing.
You're going to make a lot of people really mad. Well, not only for the nostalgia of it, just the looks of it, but what issues my Trooper. Did you have?
I love my Trooper. It's to this day one of the coolest looking vehicles I've had. But when you've got a 4-cylinder, an underpowered 4-cylinder in that thing, it's the only vehicle I've ever had that got worse gas mileage on the highway than it did, in the city, because I couldn't do the speed limit. And then
like a brick.
Yeah, and then eventually Daisy and the kids wouldn't ride with me because it's nothing but windows, so it would be hot. The air conditioner it worked technically, but it would not cool you. So
it was a beater with a heater. So
yeah, it didn't help that I had yanked all the carpet out of it and bed lined the floors.
Well, you're building it out, man,
and drilled drain holes in the floors and everything.
It's like mid build. Hey, let's go get groceries. Ah, crap! Yeah. All right, throw the seats back in.
So eventually we sold that, and I bought and Fletch will like this. I bought an Xterra.
Oh boy,
a first gen Xterra, and it was like the next step up, right? I was like, people all the time are like, the Xterras are so slow. It's all about perspective, my friend.
Right.
All right.
You see what I was driving before?
Yeah.
That's the way
This is a race truck.
That's awesome.
But it was cool. Still limiting. It still had torsion bar suspension,
Yeah, yeah.
which is good and bad. If you're on a budget like I always am, it's cool because I'm like, watch me get an inch of lift for free.
Ugga dugga.
Yeah.
Maxed out. That's awesome.
And it was all right. I enjoyed it, but I still wanted more. Then the third gen Tacoma came out, and I was like, this is the coolest truck I've ever seen.
And you got a really cool color. What's the color called?
Blazing Blue Pearl.
Oh, it's gorgeous. If you're a Dodge guy, it's kind of like electric blue, but a hint darker. It's gorgeous. And
you don't see it too often, surprisingly.
No, you don't.
And I've got the like magic combo of Blazing Blue Pearl, TRD off-road with the long bed. So it's kind of a unicorn. But yeah, so I saw the third gen Tacoma and I was like, this is the coolest truck I've ever seen. I need one. And I got it, and but so we got into overlanding. To get back to your original question,
that's all right, man. I like it. It's a podcast.
So we got into overlanding, to just explore, and then we started doing it, and I was like, this is fun, and that I started getting that creative itch. So I was like, I want to just make some videos. Of course, like everybody else, I had seen Expedition Overland and all these other incredible creators on YouTube. And I was like, I could do something like that in my free time. So we just started filming, and it's evolved a bit over time, but
did you always like have a knack for like you're a digital creator, so you're a graphic designer pretty much. And did you ever like do any film work? Like
in high school, like,
okay,
like 2002 or whatever, back in high school.
So whenever you're like, hey, we're gonna record, with a camera. Did you know what camera to buy? Or you just like GoPro or whatever?
Well, to this day, I live by a fake it till you make it mentality, right? Like my biggest envy for some of these other channels, like like Expedition Overland, their rigs are all super incredible. My biggest envy is people's camera equipment. I'm like, even like Independence, Overland, his stuff looks great. Story Till Now, because they're shooting on good DSLRs.
Yeah,
we shoot on primarily cell phones. Like I'll come back from a trip and I'll have footage on my phone, her phone, a drone, and then sometimes if I do interview style stuff at camp, I'll shoot it on a DSLR. But that's because I have a really old Canon DSLR and its image stabilization is atrocious. It doesn't
like a D90?
It's a T3i.
Oh.
So I think those came out.
I didn't know how old you were talking there, but it's a DSLR. It can't be too old.
Yeah, I want to say the 3i came out in probably like 11.
That's cool though, because you could tell. I forget what trail you guys were doing. This was a couple years ago. What was it? It wasn't the Daniel Boone.
Might have been Potts Mountain.
Georgia Traverse.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so that was that video, and a couple of the shots, I was like, man, he's shooting with a nice camera, like those angles and stuff. It just looks legit. So anyway, go back.
So you can, because like that's the budget thing to me, right? Like I would absolutely love a great mirrorless Sony, but it's not in the budget. It's not. Well, we're both working. We got kids and dogs, and YouTube doesn't really pay. I mean, it pays, but not much. So we fake it by getting the angles. The better you can fake a shot if you framing.
If you're not lazy, a lot of people are lazy and they do like the dashboard cameras. They'll just mount it on the dashboard and do an hour's worth of that and put some music to it.
Yeah,
like, that's lazy.
So
if you're that person, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
not my jam.
And I learned a bit. So like I said, back in high school, I did some video stuff. And then before I was with the company I'm with now, for 2 or 3 years, I did freelance design around Charlotte with we ran a business. It wasn't freelance. And we had a lot of restaurants on retainer, or they had us on retainer. and I would sweeten the deal with them by offering photography.
Oh, nice.
So that's how I got more acquainted with cameras. I took a couple of like extra photography classes when I was in design school, but really I am really good at just figuring it out as I go.
Yeah, that's
I'm
cool,
like,
man.
I'm like that guy. Daisy hates it sometimes because I'll sit here and I'll watch YouTube for a minute and I'm like, okay, yeah, I know how to do that. We'll go.
Nice.
Let's go try it.
And it's more rewarding too, especially if you like get to see that fulfilled or whatever. It's like really cool and exciting. But not a lot of people are like that. They want the instant gratification and stuff right now. So it's like,
well, and
I am with you like 100% on a lot of that stuff. You know, here I'm upstairs in my house doing a podcast. You know, it is what it is. So it's like, yeah, do what you got to do. I don't have a huge studio or anything, but
yeah,
it is what it is.
But it's a bit of a catch-22 for me because, and I may step on the toes of a question you've got coming up, but if you look at our channel, we haven't posted anything in like 6 months or more, and I had to stop myself because, you know, like I said, we're going to do these trips. We do it because we love it. The videos are second, and I'd started to get caught up in making the algorithm happy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like YouTube wants you to post a video a week. And
10 minutes or longer, right?
yeah, like to make YouTube happy and make the ads happy, they want a 10-minute or longer video every week. And that's hard to do.
Yeah.
Especially like for me, I'm like, man, 8 hours a day I'm sitting in front of a computer in Adobe. And then to make YouTube happy, I need to come home and spend more hours
give me a headache.
in front of the computer on Adobe. And I'm like, and now I'm like,
screen time.
yeah. And now I'm like, also, we need to go drive trails so that I can video it to make YouTube happy. And so I was like, we're going to wait. We're going to slow down.
Okay.
We're going to do more meaningful stuff.
Yeah.
So
a lot of people are doing that. They're, what are they calling it? Less quantity, more quality.
Yeah.
I guess.
And that's been my goal always.
Mm-hmm.
But it's
tough. It is tough. And especially video is a lot more harder than like podcasting because you got the video, you got the audio, you got the transitions, you got if it's going to be a fade in or a quick swip, whatever. And you got to add the graphics and all that. There's a lot that goes into it, and a lot of people don't realize it. At least for the majority of people, like a minute in video is like an hour, I think.
Yeah,
of editing.
It can be more like I overthink like music and stuff. I'll edit a scene and I'm like, what is the mood here? Mm-hmm. And then I'll go into like on the website where I get all of our music, and I'm just like, nope, that's not it. That's not it. That's not it. And so I'll drive myself crazy.
What helps me out a lot is like, and I'm not like a big, you go over to my YouTube, there's like 15 videos, and that's of my trips. And I enjoy doing it because of that. You're setting the mood for your film, your video, or whatever. But like sometimes I get the best inspiration. Like if I have a 15, 20 minute video, it's too long for me, in my opinion. And you want to flow better so you keep and retain the audience. So it's like sometimes I'll wait a day or two, and I'll go back in, watch the thing start to finish, and I just go back and just edit like 30% of it, just take it out. It's like useless. That's
like, so like I said, a lot of our trips we go with other creators, and one of the main ones, down south, off-road and outdoor, Jeremy and I have like opposite mentalities. And his is better for making YouTube happy. So they'll go on a trip, if it's like a 4 or 5 day trip, and that'll become 4 or 5 videos.
Mm-hmm.
Where I'll go on the same trip and here's one 25-minute video. I come in there like Wolverine. I'm just slashing everything down.
No, I get it. So. It's tough too because like for Instagram, I'm horrible at Instagram. So the ideal back when Instagram was, created is pictures. Mm-hmm. Now they're incorporating like video and all that stuff, and that's what's blowing Instagram up, which is fun. It is what it is. So like for me, I always try to take epic quote unquote pictures at camp and stuff. Yep. It's like I've got pictures for a month. For Instagram, it's like you come back, you're like, which ones did I use already? And it's like, if it doesn't matter, it's like you're overthinking it.
That is 100% my life. And I do this. I fake Instagram. For one, I don't make them happy with the videos.
Yeah,
I can't make a good reel. Daisy will go and make a reel on her phone in 5 minutes, and it'll get a whole bunch of views. And I'm like over here trying to produce something, and I post it, and nobody watches it. But I will. I'm the same way. I'll take 1 million photos, and then instead of dumping them all at once, I'll trickle them out. Over it. And I do the same thing. I'm like, wait a second. I think I posted this last month.
Not relevant. Not relevant.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome, man. So let's talk about. We already kind of talked about how you got started and all this stuff. What's your favorite rig? Like, other than looks and like Toyotas being cool and stuff, why the 3rd gen again? Just why not a Chevy? Why not a Ford or something?
Well, I'm going to ruffle.
I'm not going to say the J word. It doesn't deserve airtime.
Well, you know what my wife drives.
Go ahead.
She's got a JK.
I know.
With 37 sitting in the shop ready to go on it right now.
Nice.
So I was drawn to the Tacoma immediately for 2 reasons: the looks and the sort of legendary reliability that Toyota has. But I didn't want to get blinders. I strongly considered the Colorado.
Mm-hmm. Those are cool rigs too.
But I'll tell you what stopped me is the Tacoma. I don't know how familiar you are with like the specific trim levels. So you've got the TRD Pro, which is everybody loves it. It's got the black grille and all the fancy stuff. And but the truth is, between the Pro and the off-road trim levels, the only difference mechanically, well, there isn't really. There's the only difference is cosmetics. The Pro gives you leather seats and better headlights, but when it comes to like the rear locker, the crawl control, the Pro has better shocks. But if you're gonna upgrade this truck at any point, those shocks are going to get replaced, and that's like half of the cost of upgrading to a Pro.
Right. That's what I. So that was a TRD Pro or the TRD off road?
The Pro versus the off road. So like if you're going to upgrade, the off road is the way to go. Save yourself money.
Yeah, you need
and then upgrade it. Whereas on the Chevy side, they have the ZR2, which I strongly considered because factory it has a rear locker and a front locker. It's got some fancy shocks. But unlike the Toyota, the next step down on the Colorado doesn't have anything. It doesn't have any of the lockers. It doesn't have the shocks. It doesn't have anything.
Yeah.
And it's got a really bland Chevy interior. But
they look mean though. The body lines on the Colorados look mean.
It does when it's built.
Yeah.
But I felt like for the price, I was starting much lower with the Colorado than I would have been with the Toyota.
Yeah.
And then it also helped. So I work for a big automotive group, and someone traded in my truck at one of our dealerships, and it already had like the Fox shocks on it. It had, it was already lifted, and I was like, man, I can go grab this and get employee pricing.
Nice.
So it sort of just fell in my lap. But I was looking at that. I considered a 4Runner, but ultimately I was like, I need a truck.
Now you take your whole family camping. Like
sometimes.
Now how does that work out? How many?
Tell
us the sleeping arrangements and all that jazz, because a lot of guys, it's hard to get your wives involved. And it's hard to get your kids involved.
Yeah, so it was hard to get her involved at first.
Okay.
Because she was like, I don't know about this whole primitive camping thing.
Yeah, slow this one down, because there's a lot of men out there, their wives will not go camping with them at all, to a primitive spot. You know?
Yeah. And that was our first hurdle, as I was just like, look, let's just try it. because we camped a lot, but we always camped at campgrounds, where it's like there's showers and there's a bathhouse. But now I had to try it, and we started off just some regular like weekend camping trips, and I was like, "Look, we got water, so you can like wash up if you need to." I offered the like wag bag bucket, thing, but she opted out of that. But now both of us can't hardly stand camping in a campground.
This is all right. This is just not a weird. It's kind of a weird question. So, what time of the year was it? Was it spring, summer, fall? For
it probably would have been fall. We both hate the heat, so
yes, that's what I was getting at. It was like because that would have definitely destroyed your plan.
Oh yeah, if I had taken her for the first time to a primitive campsite and it was like
July
August or July, we wouldn't be talking right now.
That's right. That's right. This channel would not exist.
Yeah. But now, like I said, she can't. We stay in a campground and we're just like, man, this sucks.
Yeah. So we went. That reminds me, we went to a campsite or campground a few weeks ago, and it was just like school just let out for everyone. Everybody was excited to get out, but if you could like hear everyone's conversation around camp, that just annoys the heck out of me.
Like
maybe it comes
barking
from the seclusion of camping remotely in primitive spots, and then because I grew up camping like with an RV, that's what people call camping now is like RVs and campers. Like when you say overlanding and camping like that, they think you're still bringing an RV. Like, no, we have to say primitive now, even though there's like we're pretty much decked out with whatever.
Yeah,
it's just funny that the whole camping word, tents got converted to like 2-320 hookup now or whatever. So it's like
with air conditioners and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she's on board fully now. But the kids, some trips we take them, some we don't. My oldest hates off-roading.
How old?
He's 14. So our kids are 14 and 9.
Hates off-roading?
Yeah. He gets nervous. Like if we get off camber at all.
I can see that.
He's like, the truck's just going to blow up.
I can see that. Yeah, I can see that.
So he hates the off-road bits. And we tend to make everybody in my group happy. I try to find at least one good put it in for low section, So he hates those bits, but he enjoys like the stuff that we do along the trail.
Yeah.
My youngest loves the off-roading, but he can be challenging in the car for long periods of time. So we split it up. Like we just did, last May, we did 9 days through the Northeast.
Nice.
So we went.
How far northeast? Like all the way up to Canada and stuff?
Almost. So we went to, so like I said, we're in North Carolina. So we went up to Niagara Falls.
Nice.
And then from there, we went through and did a few days in the Adirondacks. We did a day in Vermont. We did there's a trail called the Trans New Hampshire Overland Adventure Route. It's a mouthful, but it
pretty
runs.
Long.
Yeah, it runs from north to south through New Hampshire. So we did that, and then ended just outside of
how long?
Boston.
How many miles?
Too many.
Like over $2,000
total. If I include like driving to and from, probably.
Wow, that's a trip.
'Cause
all in your Tacoma?
Yeah, and it was we like blew a CV. We weren't even on a trail. Had to get a CV replaced while we were up there. Had a sidewall get cut in a tire. Just everything that could go wrong while you got children with you.
That's like next. For me, it's next level. Like, what do you call it? Just that next level frustration. You're not like throwing stuff. You're just like you want to regroup and have control, but it's like we don't have time for that. It's like that extra load of stress.
And that's when Daisy comes in. I do this. I'm super go with the flow on like everything. But then there's this time when that kind of stuff happens. I think it's a holdover from the Marine Corps. We always call it going internal, where I'm just like, you know what? I'm going to sit down for a minute and just just going to be in myself.
Right.
And then I'm going to come back.
So a few episodes ago, back in the early days, we were talking about that. Like it was some kind of recovery episode and how people respond too quickly without rationalizing or thinking of a proper way or a safe way to do it. So like the Brits are back in the day or whatever, maybe World War II, maybe they still do it now. But if they were like under attack or something epic, some failure, some catastrophic thing happened, they would have a cup of tea. Like they would break and collect their thoughts and then act instead of reacting like, out of whatever. So anyway, that's funny that you said that.
Yeah, that's like my thing. I'm like, you know what? Hold on. We're going to just stop. Process this.
Yeah.
It's not a race. Very much so. But yeah, to answer your question, to sort of sum that up, it varies. And when we take the kids, we typically will do Daisy and I in the rooftop tent because it's one of the like 2-man, so smaller clamshell pop-ups. And the boys have a 2-man tent that they set up on the ground.
So rolling into camp, or do you give any, and this is just a parenting thing, I guess. So A, are tablets allowed on long road trips? B, do you give them responsibilities like set up, collecting firewood, whatever? Or is there anything, any of that nature going on?
I don't regulate tablets for one because they don't have tablets that have internet access. So
if they're watching a movie, that's fine on the road trips and stuff. Cool.
And then when we get to camp, I don't charge them with too much. I want them to have a little bit of responsibility, but ultimately, I don't want them to equate an overland trip with work.
Yes.
So their task is their things, right? So get your tent out. I'll tell them this is where I want you guys to set up tonight is right here. They get it out together. They set it up together. They'll put their bedrolls in there and their sleeping bags. And then in the morning, it's their task to break that down and put it away.
Good. Yeah. And it's funny. I want to start asking that to dads because it's kind of a unique thing, like a world that we're living in right now. It's kind of the, hey, mom and dad do everything mentality, and I'll just sit back, relax. But again, it's like you can't be, some hard A or some tough dad whenever you're going camping because it's their trip too. And it's our jobs of dads to show them how to camp. And it's their job to enjoy it. Yep. So
and
they'll see that, and then they'll do that when they're dads or whatever.
And I will occasionally try, like when I'll see, here's a teaching moment.
Yeah.
Which is a thing I should probably try to like catch on camera more often, but when I get to camp, I'm terrible. Like I forget that I'm a YouTuber. Mm-hmm. I get to camp and I just go into camp mode. But yeah, I'll say, hey boys, come here. I'm going to show you how to use a flint and steel and how to, if you don't have a lighter, this is how you start a fire. Who knows how much of that they're retaining.
Sure.
But I'm exposing them to it nonetheless.
Yeah. No, for sure. And they'll remember it, when they're 40 years old, they'll flash back or whatever.
Yeah.
Try to teach their kids or whatever. That's pretty cool. So you were talking earlier about planning a trip. And you said that you're like the type A, want to control it kind of guy. What are your planning considerations when doing a trip? Like not only like are you going through public land, what apps are you using, you're packing, all that, food, all that stuff. So this might take a minute, but that's fine.
I use a lot of stuff. I will extensive Google searching, right? Like especially out here. Out like you can open any of the many trail apps and find miles and miles of trails out west.
Right.
Like if you open, I was trying to think of what's one of the ones that I have. I don't know. But if you open one of those and pull it out west, miles and miles of trails. Out here, you'll see probably the Jeep Badge of Honor trails.
Yeah. So like a Gaia or an Onyx kind of trail.
So I will use, Onyx has 6 trails and maybe 5 trails in North Carolina, something like that.
What about Gaia? Did you compare the two? Because I hear people out west prefer Onyx, and people out east and mid central Midwest prefer Gaia also. And it's actually a mix in the Midwest. I've heard from my friends.
I use for the final product, it's always Gaia for me. And that's just because I like their route creation tools.
Mm-hmm.
But I will use to build the route, I will check forums. I'll go on Overland Bound. I will look up. So I'll say, like, I want to go through Virginia. I'll search trails in Virginia. Interesting things to do in Virginia. Cool places in Virginia. And then Overland Bound, overlanding Virginia. And find whatever people have. If they've posted their GPX files, I'll grab all of them.
Nice.
And I will throw them all into Gaia. And I will just look for the path, right? Like, you've done this route up here. He's done this route down here. This person's done one in the middle. How can I connect those?
Nice.
And then I will, my group, like I said, we are a bit of a mix because you can overland in a Subaru.
Correct.
Right? But like my Tacoma's on 35s with the full skid plates and all this stuff. My buddy's Tacoma's the same way. Or we've got our friends in their Wrangler. So we want to see the sights. We want to get the cool campsites. But these guys also, we want to push the rigs a little bit.
Yeah.
So I will try to find a bit of that. But this time, for example, I mentioned this trip coming up back to the Allegheny route later. Some people are going with me on that have not been. So we're going to like Zoom meeting it, sort of. Like, I'm going to show them some options I've got. Like, hey, here's the north end of the trail. I've got way more trails than we can do. There's this point that's interesting, this one and this one and this one. What do you guys want to do in the first 3 days? And then based off of that input, I'm going to dictate the first 3 days and find camping somewhere near the end of it. And then I'll do that for the middle and the end. And that'll help me build the overall route, and it'll help me find something for everybody.
Yeah.
Because some people, I have to stop myself. I will put too much things in one day.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, today we got 6 stops and 200 miles of trail. And then we're rolling into camp at 10 o'clock. And some of the people in my group are mad because they like the camp side of it a lot more.
Yeah.
On an overland trip for me, camp is a temporary thing. I'm like,
that's right. Yeah.
I'm trying to,
the travel and the adventure seeking, that's the primary.
Yeah. Objective. I'm like, I will, if you don't stop me, I'm going to roll into camp at 10 o'clock. I'm going to set up.
Now, you hope to find an epic camp spot.
Yeah.
And the earliest, like the Creekside camping one that Jacob and Taylor and I recorded a podcast a couple weeks ago, Diamond State Off-Road and Eagles Overlanding. That we got to that campsite at 3 p.m. That was the earliest I have ever been to camp. We swam in the creek and all that stuff. We just sat around. I was like, no offense. Like, I was like, this is kind of boring, but again, it's kind of nice because the day before we did a hike with Baker and for his channel and all that stuff. So it was like kind of nice, but it was like from 3 p.m. to like 11 at night. We just had nothing other than dinner. We had the we recorded the podcast and we just swam for about an hour. That was it. We just hung out. That was it. But there's nothing wrong with those either.
Yeah, if I'm at camp before 5 or even around 5, I'm like, I could have put more stuff in this day.
Yeah.
You know, we could have seen like 2 more waterfalls. And
sometimes though, like I'll feel like a grandpa. I'll be like, because you know when you're wheeling and stuff, you're stressed out from like what lines you're taking, if you're getting bounced around, the emotional factor and the physical factor, whether or not you're safe. You know, it's like it takes a toll on you. So sometimes like we'll complete a trail kind of early and we're like, you guys want to go find camp or keep going on another trail? And there's been times I'm like, you know, let's just find camp. I am wore the heck out, and you got to do that. But it's not at 3, you know, it's like at 6 or whatever.
Yeah. So. Now that said, when I do get to camp, if we're there between like 7-8 o'clock, we're usually in bed at like 9:30.
It wears you out.
Dude, we go to bed early though. Even when we're here, we're like old people.
Do you have like, dude? Same. Do you have like a blackout tent or whatever to where you guys could like sleep in?
Not really, and it wouldn't matter. I wake up early. I'm usually like one of the first people to wake at camp. So if you're overlanding with us and like at like 6:30 you hear someone wrestling around camp, it's probably me.
That's like Uncle Wade. Uncle Wade in the house. It's funny. My buddy Wade. He'll get up and well, used to. Now they've got a nice rooftop tent, but in the day they used to sleep on top of their drawer system, and I think it's a GX470 or whatever. And so sometimes if he can't sleep, him and his wife are in there, so like he'll just peace out at like 2 a.m. if he can't sleep, and he'll sleep in his freaking like camp chair, and then he'll get up and walk around, and he'll come back and he'll sleep again. It's the goofiest thing, but Wade, I love you, buddy, but it's just, I think the days are over because now they've got like a nice hard shell FSR or something.
Oh yeah,
and he could sleep in till noon if he wanted. It's so blacked out in there. It's awesome. So
yeah, I mean maybe a blackout tent would do it. I don't know, but typically the sun starts to crest, and I'm like, it's time to get up. I'm gonna get out here. The good news is for everybody else, it means they get out of their tents. There's already a fire going.
All right. So here's the rule, boys or girls. The first one up at camp always gets the fire going. That's the rule. Yep. I mean, if you're up, get that fire going, and then who's up second gets to cook.
Yep. Yeah, that's my thing. So the signal that I'm ready for everybody else to get up is when I stop being quiet and start chopping wood. Mm-hmm. You know, they're hearing that axe.
Up now. Yeah.
Yep.
It's 8 o'clock. What are you guys doing in bed?
Oh man, 8 o'clock. I'm ready to be wheels up.
Yeah, that's funny. Let's shift gears a little bit. So the whole word overland and everything. I know YouTubers and podcasters and Instagrammers and all those people that have the word overland kind of affiliated with them is kind of it's an overused word right now. What's your take on that? Are you feel like, it's like, I hate that I called myself this, or should have gone with off-road, or are you sticking it out and you don't even give a crap what people are thinking right now?
So it's funny. I told you I listened to the last few podcasts, and I was hoping you'd hit me with this question. I have really sort of conflicting opinions on the overland term. Because part of me is that guy who gets like butthurt when people are like, yeah, we're going overlanding, and they go and they drive up a dirt road and camp for 2 nights and then go home, and I'm like, car camping is not overlanding. Mm-hmm. So there's part of me who is that guy who gets butthurt, but then also don't really care.
Yeah. They're out doing something fun.
Like whatever.
That's so funny.
No, because it's not all we do, but I didn't want, I told you I work in marketing and graphic design. So branding is a big thing for me. It's a thing I think about a lot. And a big part of branding is not just visual, it's the name, right? So short and to the point. If my name is like Spartan Overland Off-Road and Gear Review.
Yeah.
You're not going to remember all that.
Right.
So no, I'm fine with Overland. It's still what I consider the main thing that we do.
Yeah.
Like, sure, we've got some videos where it's just Daisy taking her Jeep and like hitting some gnarly ledge that would break all my CV axles.
You have a front locker. Do you?
No, I don't. Because my buddy Kevin, so we have our Tacomas are almost identical. They're both 3rd gen long bed TRD off road on 35s with 2.5-inch lift skid plates. But his is metallic, gray metallic. He has a front locker, and he goes through CV axles so fast, and I'm just like, I'm not doing it.
That's what I was getting at. Like, Even like, all right, so I do O'Reilly's import direct CV axles. It's a lifetime warranty, so if you break it, you take it back.
Yeah.
The only issue with that's an O'Reilly's part. You know, it's a lot less more than Toyota. And then I think what's the other brand that Toyota axle knockoff? Anyway, more for the crawler guys. They're super strong, but they're like $1,000 a pair
Yeah.
or $1,000 a piece.
Yeah.
So
So
for me, I'm like the lifetime warranty guy.
and that's what I've got. Like right now, I've got Toyota CVs with lifetime warranties, and I've got a great relationship with a service tech.
Nice. That helps, dude. That helps.
But I've done the Toyota ones, and I've also done Napa has.
They're supposed to be really good.
They call them their HD. I don't know if it's any different at all, but I had a Napa CV axle that did really great. It just tore a boot, and I put a different boot on it. I put a silicone boot on it, and kept going.
For the 2.5-inch lifts, all you're running.
Yeah, it's close to.
It comes
3.
out to that with 35s.
Yeah, it's close to 3. I was more, and I lowered it because I was tearing up CV axles.
What's your upper control arm? Is it aftermarket or stock?
Yeah, they're SPC. That way, that's about the only way, honestly, to run a 35 on that Tacoma is an adjustable upper control arm, so you can push that caster forward and maintain proper alignment.
Yep. I'm messing with my truck or my third gen 4Runner right now, IFS. So I just had the Bilstein 5100s come in. I'm gonna put them on yesterday. That didn't happen because as I was driving to another town about 10-15 miles away, I heard a loud squealing noise, and then I started hearing a grinding noise. So my right rear axle bearing went out because I'm an idiot, and the back trailing arms, control arms, whatever you want to call them, the bushings were shot. So I was crab walking just really ever so slightly whenever I would like accelerate and brake and stuff like that. So eventually that kind of wore out, which it would.
Yeah.
So that's on me. So that's what I'm going to do to like tomorrow and this weekend is fix that, because I've not been on a trip in like 2 or 3 weeks. It's killing me.
And so that's what happened to us. We hit trails and routes so hard for like 2 years, and then like a whole bunch of maintenance hit us all at once.
Yeah.
Like I was like, oh, I'm doing a CV axle and a wheel bearing, and then I had a fuel injector problem, and then the Jeep had axle seal, and it needed a transmission.
Sheesh, already?
Dude, I was just like, well, it's a 07. It's an 07, and it has it's like 100, almost, it's close to 200,000 miles on it. So it was due, but still, it's like, man, why has all this got to happen all at once? And so then people are hitting me up like, yo, notice you guys aren't posted much.
Right. What's up?
I'm like, well, I'm stuck in repair town right now.
That sucks, man. A lot of people, I don't know. I don't want to get into how like you guys prioritize your trips or anything, but obviously you're focusing on not so much content right now. You're wanting to slow that down to where you're coming out with better stuff. But like back in the day, you guys were coming out like all the time, like with series and stuff, and you slowed it down. But anyway, are like your end goals to like pursue YouTube, or just kind of keep it like at your pace and see what happens?
I would love, I mean, so like it wasn't the goal, right? But if YouTube somehow started paying for the trips, that would be great. If I could just do this full time, that would be great. But I don't see that happening anytime soon. So currently my goal is just to, kind of keep doing it and see what happens. I'm not gonna break my back to make YouTube happy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess just we'll see where it goes.
But the content's going to be there, and you're going to work on.
And I've got some more people who
production.
I've got some more people who have like hit us up. They want to. I mean, I'm sure you like have probably had people that want to send you stuff. And
reviews and junk.
Yeah, we're going to do some reviews but we've already done a handful. But the problem is trying to find reviews where it's like something I care about.
Sure. Yeah.
I did one review of a synthetic, like a budget offering synthetic winch line.
Mm-hmm.
And so then everybody wanted to send me synthetic lines, and I'm like, guys, I'm not gonna become the synthetic winch line review guy.
Come on.
Also,
Come on, do it.
It's like there's not that many interesting ways I can show you. All right, you wrap the synthetic line around, then you're gonna pull it tight.
Yeah.
So
we've had people reach out, but I mean, there's a point to where you could be picky too, especially if you make up the rules, man. It's your show.
Yep.
So.
And then it's tough for me, similar to what I was saying before with time constraints, right?
Yeah.
Like working every day. I'm working 5 days a week. Daisy's working 5 days a week. And then if it's a bigger item, it's tough because they want more content, understandably. But it's like, I'm trying.
Yeah. It takes a lot more than people seem to appreciate, I guess. I don't know. It takes a lot of work.
Yeah, it does.
Well, as we head towards the door here, do you have any big plans or trips coming up?
We'll see. What do we got on the schedule? I'm hoping to go to, let's see, so I will plug our next video series that's coming out because I'm pretty excited for it. Daisy just competed in the first ever, it's called the Artemis Rally. It was a female-only 4-day adventure challenge across western North Carolina.
Wow.
She was, it's similar to Rebel, but not. Right? So it was 8 teams of 2, female only. They would be given a scroll at the start of the day with a list of grids or grid coordinates. And each grid had a task with a point value. And then they had a waypoint for the campsite at night and a time hack. Like say it said 7 o'clock. If you were before 7 o'clock, you got 300 points. If you were 7:01, you lost 900 points.
Oh, wow.
So, and they competed against her and her partner, Jillian. They competed against some really incredible ladies in the off-road world. Like Tiffany Stone, who's an announcer for what's it called? Mid-America. Like she was just out west interviewing Travis Pastrana.
Oh, wow.
Daisy and her teammate came out of that with first place.
Really?
Yeah, they killed it.
Wow, man. How cool is that?
So I spent 4 days chasing them around North Carolina in my Tacoma to video it.
So is this like a televised event? I mean, obviously you guys were probably recording it, right?
This first one wasn't, but it may become that way. So it was sort of like interviews and stuff were like live streamed to Facebook, I think.
Wow. But so this was the first year of it, and they got first place.
Yeah, they crushed it.
Awesome.
And to brag on them a little bit, the point spread between second and third place was like 300 points.
Oh, wow.
The point spread between first and second was 2,700 points.
Really?
Yeah.
They smoked them.
They could have not done anything the last day.
Wow. That's freaking awesome, man.
Yeah, so they really killed it. So that's going to be our next video, is that.
So when did this happen? Because I don't know when this is going to drop.
Let's see. This competition, it happened the start of June. June 1st was the competition.
June 1st. And when did it end?
June 4th.
June 4th. Wow. That's awesome. So it was a 4-day.
Yeah, it was cool. So that's coming out, and then we've got, look at my calendar here because I have goldfish memory. We're going to start, so before we launch this, I was telling you about my family cabin. We're going to start, I'm going to do a series of videos sort of documenting this cabin. It's not overlanding.
Nah, it's good.
But I feel like the overland community would dig, restoring
heritage.
A 200-year-old cabin.
Yeah.
So we're going to do that. We're going to the Land Between the Lakes in August.
How far away is that from y'all?
It's a ways. I want to say
Because that's more towards my side, but I think I'm yet still 6 hour drive.
I think it's more than that. Let's see. I'll tell you right now, as the listeners wait in anticipation.
I've got some music for that. Hold on right now. Are we ready? No.
It says 7.5 hours.
Sorry, folks. That was a little delay there.
Says
all right, so not too bad. It's
yeah.
about a good day's drive.
Yeah. So, and what we'll do, my team hates it. I will leave.
Just go for it.
I will leave at like midnight the night before.
Ew,
and drive through the night.
No, screw that.
Yeah. No, I don't know. 7.5 hours. I might not. I might have to go up. The day
like
before.
the old 5 o'clock in the morning. Hey, let's meet up. Not necessarily at 5, but hey, let's meet up at 6 or whatever. And you'll be there by 3 o'clock. With all your restroom breaks and gas breaks and all that jazz.
Yeah, what I'll probably do. That's pretty far. I'll probably leave the day before and camp nearby.
Gosh, it's a marathon, man. It's not a race. It's a marathon.
So let's see. So we got Land Between the Lakes, and then ATR. You should make the drive for that.
What is ATR?
It is, well, they've changed the name of it, but traditionally it's Appalachian Toyota Roundup.
Okay, the dude's in Spartan Overland group.
Yeah.
What's his name? I forget.
You might be talking about Brett Smokey.
Yeah, he's been posting that. So when is that event?
So that is every year, Labor Day weekend. And it's at Windrock.
Golly, why has it got to be at Labor Day?
I know, it's like the common thing. So that's at Windrock Off-Road Park, which is in Tennessee. They have like 300 something miles of trail. Everything from dirt roads to, buggies.
Awesome, man.
And usually there's like 500 or 600 rigs.
Sheesh.
But now
that's like Rendezvous in the Ozarks for us. It's have you heard of that?
Yeah. I've heard of it.
You need to
I've
come
not
to
been.
Yeah. You need to come to it.
So but now they're calling this Appalachian Trail Ride because they don't want to be
Toyota affiliate
exclusive.
Yep.
And then
cool, man.
September is also that trip, the Parkway and the Appalachian Discovery or Allegheny Discovery route. Following that up with Expo East.
Oh, you're going to the Expo East?
Yeah, so we've been partnered sort of with this Sky Tent Overland.
Yep.
They're rooftop tents out of Canada.
Yeah.
And he's talking about getting a booth. And if he does, I guess we're going to go hang out.
Very fun. Did you guys go to last year? Wasn't last year the first one on the East?
No, we didn't go last year. We went the year before that.
Was that the first one on the East?
May have been. It's the first time we went to. I'll tell you that.
Pretty busy.
It was.
Good show though.
Yeah, we enjoyed it. It was cool. We don't buy stuff at places like that, but
it's good to go get your hands on it.
Exactly.
And to see it.
Like,
and to rationalize your decision making.
A good example would be the Gazelle tent.
Mm-hmm.
I dismissed a lot when I would just see them on YouTube. And then seeing it in person, I was like, okay, I can actually see the value in this. It's really well made.
A lot of my friends have them, and they're popping their tents up faster than my rooftop tent sometimes. It's
it's crazy.
Yep, we're done. And they've got the luxury of the cots, too. It's like, those things are huge.
And then he only spent $500 on it.
Less than that now, T3s, T4s, all that stuff.
They're looking,
Sweet, man.
They're looking at you up in your $3,000 rooftop tent.
Right. Sucker.
Yeah.
Well, any animal can climb nowadays. We know that.
Right. We have to get, a rope ladder, to pull it up into the tent.
I am fortunate enough that my ladder is bolted to my tent. Like the CV, what is it, CVTs?
Yeah.
Any of those guys, or you got the detachable ladder.
Yep.
It's like you could wake up and not have a ladder.
That's true, man. I never thought about that because mine does that. Mine comes off
dirty,
dude. I might just come out shooting. Who knows?
Who knows? Give it back my ladder.
Yeah, where's my ladder?
Then you shoot the guy, and then what? He's on the ground. He can't bring you a ladder anyway. Lose situation.
He was probably up to no good taking my ladder in the first place.
Then the cops show up. That's a lose. You can't go over, man. Lose.
Yeah,
Dude, we are at an hour.
Perfect.
1 hour.
You said that was the goal.
It is way the goal. We don't have goals here on the Budget Overland podcast. I'm just joking. Are there any questions for me since we've met like 2 weeks ago?
I don't think so, but I am looking forward to participating more in the group here.
Sweet. I'm glad that you finally found us because I found you.
Might even start harassing you on your voicemail.
Do it, bro. Call in, dang it. Hey, so people that don't know, there's the Overland Shenanigans show on Mondays, and if you want to call in here, I'm going to slow it down for you guys to grab a pen. Here's the phone line: 314-266-9536. If you don't know what that is, call in, ask me a question, say how's your day going, tell us about the latest and greatest gear you just bought or the latest and greatest trip you took. That's a toll-free line, folks. It's a voicemail. We don't have to talk. And you can be anonymous. Don't leave your name. So anyway,
you know what I'm going to do? The next
good plug though.
Next trip I'm going to find my 1 bar of service on the mountaintop, and I'm gonna call in.
Nice.
I'm gonna be like, hey Benji, this is Spartan Overland. You know, we're camping on this mountain. Just thought I'd let you know you're sitting at home,
right,
on your podcast.
That's right.
And we're on the mountain.
I'm out here in nature. Awesome, dude. Well, I appreciate you coming on. I truly do. And I'll put every link and every way possible to follow you guys below. But go ahead and give us where people can find you.
Yeah, we're pretty much just Spartan Overland everywhere. I think Instagram's got an NC tagged on the end, but if you search Spartan Overland, I guarantee it'll come up.
Cool.
If you guys want to take a minute and watch it, I really appreciate it. You can leave us some feedback. We'll try to do better.
Yeah. Go find them on YouTube, do a subscribe, all that jazz. Man, I appreciate you coming on the show. To each and every one of you guys at home, do something nice for somebody. I always say that lately because I'm that guy that needs reminded to do something nice for somebody and not just react. Take the time, take the tea, and then collect your thoughts and then react. Do something nice for somebody. Until next time, I'll see you guys on the Overland Shenanigans show. Bye-bye.